Shultz. I am host for this series of virtual open studios for the Carpet Mills Arts District and YOHO Open Studios 2020, which has been canceled by the pandemic. In an effort to replace our usual open studio format, we are visiting with some of the artists and artisans for one-on-one conversation in an open studio format. I will be in my studio and the participant will be in their space, and give you an opportunity to visit, meet the person, and see a little bit of their workshop and talk a little bit about their background and things that they are working on until 2021 when we can hopefully rejoin everybody. I am a practicing studio artist at YOHO. I've been here for 10 years. I am co-president of Yonkers Arts, who is hosting this series. The series is sponsored by the Yonkers Arts Initiative Grant, which is managed by Arts Westchester and granted by the governor's office, Governor Andrew Cuomo, and the New York State Legislative Assembly. Joining us for this particular chat is David Avendano. David, good afternoon.
Hello, Adam. Hello to everybody.
So how are you doing?
Very good, very good. Everything is good other than COVID, which is looking, I don't know if a little more normal, but there's some movement, compared to a couple of months ago where there was no movement. So it feels a little different. It feels like a small coming back in a way. So, feeling good.
Good, good. So I'm going to point out to the obvious to our people tuning in for this conversation. You are a piano restoration specialist, I might call you, right?
Yes. Well, I'm a piano restorer or piano technician, but definitely my main skill, I guess, it's the art of piano restoration.
So even though I've been around it a little bit, haven't been in YOHO and the Carpet Mills. Basically, you take in an old or an older or an unfunctioning piano, I assume it probably has a certain value to it, and you just tear it apart and rebuild it from scratch?
Exactly what we do, exactly.
Now, how many pianos, I'm gonna ask you just a lot of crazy questions. How many pianos can you do in a year?
Depending on, let's just say they are complete restorations. I'm probably set up to do up 15, 20 pianos a year easily. But
wow, that's incredible. I had no idea.
Yeah. Well, and just regularly, I'm gonna say 10 pianos a year. Plus, and those are full restoration. Plus, we also get partial restorations where the workers, just only one part of the component of the piano rather than all the four components of the piano. So we have those, and I'm a piano tuner and technician, obviously. So sometimes I'm outside on house calls, music schools. I'm the piano technician for the School of American Ballet in Lincoln Center. So it's here, it's outside, and the major restoration as well.
Wow, excellent. So I'm going to ask you another question that's quite curious to me. How did you get into piano restoration work?
The easy answer is luck. But my understanding for luck is when the opportunity meets with the preparation. So it was luck to that extent, because for some reason, when I was in Mexico, I'm from Mexico City originally. I was born in Mexico City, and all my family are carpenters in Mexico City, including my father. So I grew up on a carpenter shop. You know, at 7 years old, 8 years old, I was handed a little box with tools. I mean, real tools, screwdrivers, hammers, like a little handsaw. You know, that was, you know, that's, you know, I don't know if it's a tradition or not, but that was what I saw, right? So I grew up using tools all the time. I grew up, you know, I started using machines very, very early age. And I got those skills from my family, right? From my family. At some point, my father came to the United States, and he decided, that, you know, he asked me if I wanted to come over here, right? And I saw the opportunity. I really saw an opportunity because I didn't see an opportunity where I was. I couldn't see it. I couldn't see it. And when he asked me that, you know, for some reason I saw it. Like I saw it. I said, you know what, this is it. If I'm gonna have a chance to do something, because I was not impressed from my environment, you know, from my how I grew up and everything. You know, so, but I saw the chance, and my father mentioned, well, you could go to school here, and I said, great, you know, I could go to school. So the immigrant history, you know, the immigrant story, where I crossed the border illegally when I was, you know, 16, 17 years old, 17. And then I came with my dad. And at that time, my dad was, he was the janitor for this building back in 1999. So
That's incredible. I didn't know that.
yeah, I don't know if you remember Mr. Reed.
Mr. Who?
Reed?
I don't think so.
Before Remy, before when there was the ex-owner. But anyways, so my father used
I know Alan Eisencraft owned the building before George Wong owns it now, and George bought the building, I think about 3 years before I moved in, almost 4 years before I moved in. So I never met any of those people, but I've certainly heard plenty about them.
Yeah, so Mr. Reed was basically Remy, and my father was Pashko. Yeah, because my father used to fix here, fix there, you know, clean here, clean there, and when I came, I went to school for 1 year. I went to Roosevelt High School, you know, for 1 year. But towards the end of high school, I was in 10th grade, and this is the time where these type of students, the 10th grade students in that year, they get introduced to different colleges. They get introduced to, you know, options, you know, I guess, you know, just to experiment a little bit about the process. So, you know, they get introduced to that. And you know, I was excited about it, right? But when I went to my counselor told me that she could not help me because I didn't have papers. And that was not an option that, you know, then, you know, so that was it. Yeah, that was it. But all this time that I was going to school, all the afternoons, because it was only my father and I, all the afternoons I would come back, instead of going back to my house, I would come back around here, around just here. And just, you know, help, because he used to get out early. There used to be a restaurant down there. We used to eat down there. And he had a couple of friends already here, you know, in the building that he was helping in the afternoon. So I used to be here just because my dad was here. And then and then one of there was a piano company here. It was International Piano. And Fred, in Hitchcock Piano Rebuilders. They both saw my father working, you know, here and there, and fixing here and fixing there, and they, you know, I guess they realized that my father was a good handyman, right? And they offer him a job. they say, if you can be here after 3 o'clock when you finish your job, you can be here for 3 4 hours. That will be fine. And the same in those afternoons when my father was in the shop. Now I would come to my father, and I remember, he used to do all the carpentry for the pianos and all the sanding for the painting, and between coats and all that. And I used to help him because I was so used to helping from forever, because my family in Mexico, they're carpenters. They fix here, they fix there. We repaint stuff, we lacquer stuff. So, I know exactly how to sandpaper, use the sandpaper and everything. So the owner saw me being there for a couple of months, on daily basis. And he said, "Hey, David, at that time there was two main persons. It was Fred Hitchcock, which is my mentor, and Carlos Trejo, which was partnered with Fred Hitchcock. They owned the business together. Carlos spoke Spanish. He's the person that translates everything for everybody. Because at that point, I didn't speak English. Mentor didn't speak a lot of Spanish. Same with my father, right? And Carlos tells us, Fred says that you've been here for a couple of months. You help the same thing at time as your father works. We would like to offer you like a part-time job if you want. And I was happy. I was just happy. Yeah. I didn't know this was it. But in those afternoons, they started putting me instead of being with my father all the time, they started putting me here, like more with the key stuffs. They started, putting me to clean keys. And that's another component of the job. One is the refinishing, which is how my father and I started with the carpentry refinishing. But then I was cleaning keys. I was doing this. I was painting letters. It's very, very small stuff. So that's how I got introduced to the piano business. And then I remember my mentor, Fred. I remember seeing him work. I remember seeing him talk. I remember seeing him talking to other people, and I didn't know what he was saying. But it just felt so good to know somebody that was so well put together, in a sense that when you see him, it's like his voice is even like calm. Like I'm not used to this type of person, right? Back then, and it created it gave me a lot of inspiration. I say, wow, I can actually do this. If I stay here, I could actually do this. I maybe one day I can look like him. Maybe one day I can talk like him. Maybe one day I can work like him. And I realized I didn't have a chance for school because of the, what happened with the consulate. And I saw that chance here again. I say, well, this is it, right? And me at 17, 18 years old now, well, I don't have friends because I don't speak English. There was not a lot of Hispanic people here, not a lot, in my case, Mexican people, 20 years ago. So I don't go to the parks. I don't go, I just don't go out. So what do? I stay working. I didn't have anything to do. I just was working. And that was Saturdays and Sunday, because that's all I knew how to do. That's all I knew how to, like, work. Then later on, I realized I could go out. Realize in a sense that when you get here and you don't speak English, you don't feel like you belong here because you don't understand anything, And at some point, I freed my mind from that. Like I say, you know what? No, that's it. I want to see how do I go there and I come back. That was my goal. And after that, it really opened up. It really opened up completely. But that's how I introduced, to pianos. That's a little story about it.
That's amazing. And what I would like to add to that bit of conversation is you've got a very good presence on Instagram, in particular with your restoration work, and quite frequently you're posting videos. I guess they might call them live videos or recorded videos you in the shop doing, it seems like you work with your dad a lot. Is that what I recall? So you guys definitely continue working together on the process as described. And I assume that the business is built primarily out of word of mouth, and it's just kind of referrals, and maybe some of the people that you work with might send you jobs, and maybe even retailers and things like that too, right?
Yes. Well, up to a couple of months, because there's there's all this time that I've been with my dad, that from the beginning, since I was in Mexico, when my parents are divorced. So when he moved out of the house, I decided to go with him, and and from there it was been working together. We were been working together until today. So it's been I see him change. I think he has seen me change, and it feels good. It feels really good to be able to do something that I truly love, also with somebody that I love a lot. Because it really means that much, and and based on that, we do get a lot of work, and yes, most of it is through word of mouth. Um, and yes, we work with a lot of people, and most of the people that we work for understand that there is there is a passion that we have for this, and that we are on the education on pianos for life, because what anybody can do, we can do it better tomorrow, you know, just
I
by.
think passion. Yeah, I think passion is a perfect word because it comes clear. Um, when I see the work and process, and even the finished product, and hearing the finished product whenever I'm around, and just your lightness of being in the community too. You can definitely feel that you're totally in love with what you do for a living.
Yeah, I had a chance. That's why that's why I say it's luck, but I have the chance to make a decision to make this something, and it could have been something else, because if I didn't have this, I still say, I'm gonna say this forever. If I was in the kitchen, I would have been a chef.
I think a lot of people know the Carpet Mills Arts District as a large collection of buildings in the Neperhan Valley outside of downtown Yonkers as a repurposed set of buildings. There's at least 3 dozen buildings here. But it's better known as, for one small part of it, is the YOHO artist community. And the YOHO artist community is a collection of artist studios in particular, and that would encompass a lot of things that a lot of people understand, being painting, sculpture, things like that. But it also includes a lot of artisans, people who are trade specialty, that could be metal workers that aren't necessarily making sculptures, but they're literally building things from scratch with their own hands, and they're quite skilled, and uh, that blend uniquely in the community. And piano restoration, certainly one of those disciplines, is very specialized. And what I think not a lot of people know that about, and I actually have some questions myself too, is that the Carpet Mills Arts District is known for piano restoration too, and probably not just in Yonkers, but the entire, I would guess, metropolitan New York City area. Do you know? Can you shed a little more light on the community of piano restoration people
Yes,
around?
yes. So people on the piano business know of Yonkers as the piano city. They know there is a lot of piano companies here. Just between 490 Neperhan and 578, there is one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, 8 companies, including us.
7 restoration unique businesses.
Correct. Some of them are co-ops, so some of them work together, but it's still two different companies, So
That's a question I have: is in what ways do you guys? How is it a cooperative, or how is it a networking community? How does that, in ways that might seem a little obvious, but if you just shed a little more light on that.
mm, I don't understand the question really good.
Like, what is the advantage of having so many piano restoration people around you?
Well, it's not too much of an advantage because we all do the same thing. The advantage that I see that I can make an opportunity of, it's how well can I do it, and I respect and I love every single person that do this, because at the end of the day, we all try our best, at any situation, and we all have help in a way to each other. My father has gone and helped here. I mean, we actually help a lot. A lot.
Yeah, that's what I'm fishing for. How do you, like, what are the advantages in networking like that in your mind?
Yeah, so we could, when somebody's too busy, they could send us work. If we are too busy, we get to send some work. If we need some parts, like big parts, parts that you cannot get, here on the next day or 3 days, some of the companies, including us, we have a stock of different materials that when somebody runs off, hey, David, can you send me a pinball? Can you send me a soundboard? Or if I have it, I'll give it to them. And sometimes we don't even sell it. Sometimes we just give, and when you order, we just get it back. So, and that's between everybody. I mean, everybody, the 7 companies. Well, let's just say the six companies that kind of really network to a point. Like if I have a client that needs a piano and I don't have the piano, and then I can go with everybody else to ask them if they have a piano. If they have a piano, I could show the piano to my client for them, for example. So there's advantages. Business wise, it's not such an advantage, but in relationship, it's a really good advantage. You make good friends. We all get along together. When we can, we help each other, and we can make something happen for other. Most will help. So that's it.
I myself have been in New York City area since 1995, and I noticed that like minds, like people, like trades and influences, they seem to come together naturally. And there's something about that. There's an advantage to those numbers that are more important than competition. And you could set up a shop. I could set up a paint studio anywhere outside of New York City in a little, to say, a hole in the wall, but there's something about being in a community that's very appealing. It's very inspiring for me personally. Even the competition of it can
Correct.
push you.
Yeah, especially with having them around, like you say, it really pushes you, to where you want to go. And for me, this is life, so I like to be pushed on.
So one thing that I have in common with you in my travels, being around YOHO Open Studio and the Carpet Mills Arts Festival that we host during Yonkers Arts Weekend annually, is we have a live music component that goes into a lot of our programming. And one of the things that I've enjoyed about you is collaborating with some of your networking and creating live music opportunities. And I just wanted to visit with you a little bit about how you fit in the performance community and your experiences with that. And do you yourself play music, or is it necessary to have at least a little bit of musicology to tune pianos and things like that? That's a wide topic, so I'll let you talk.
So starting from how I collaborate. Um, I see my space as a platform, also a piano shop and platform. And it got I got inspired a little bit for this series of music that's called the Tiny Desk series. I'm sure you know about it. And the Tiny Desk series, it's kind of the same thing, but obviously, this is a piano shop series where the performer, if they will come here, they could use one of our pianos. We can open the space for them, and in that way we can. I mean, I really want to have a series that's you know of us as a piano shop series. So the opportunity came with Ray from Yonkers Art. We had a conversation, and before that, I was able to provide with a piano, when they have the concert downstairs, and so kind of being helping out as much as possible, as much as I can, if I can. And the conversation came out and say, "Hey, Dave, what do you think about this?" I said, you know, having some artists perform in your studio. Because at some point we had the conversation. I told them the same thing. One of my goals is here is to have a series of a month. Like I'm not only have the Yonkers Arts, but I've been talking to now a couple of different pianists, different art performers, and I want to give it a little more. I wanted to give it. I want to give the space to show a little more classical, not so hard classical, but just classical, basic, classical, enjoyable, because I think we're missing that, around here. Like I didn't grow up listening to classical music, but just throughout the process, you learn to love different types of music, and when you go classical, it's everything else is based on the classical. Any genre, everything else is based on classical, and even before that. So my goal is to be able to put a piano concerto and have, I don't know, 20 seats, 30 seats here, people that can come and enjoy the concerto. Have a piece of a ballet where I have the ballerine and the ballerina performing what's called a pas de deux, the principal part of a ballet, where the dancers dance together. A poetry performance, including music. So I want to give that space, to that. So that's how I started collaborating with Yonkers Arts, and from that, also it's also a learning experience for me, because I get to see what I kind of, where I can improve. How can I open better? How, it gives me every time that they come here, I study stuff. Like, I'm okay, this looks good here. The last time I put a nice background. So it's also that work in progress, that I'm not there yet, but I'm already having the conversation. We're already making it happen with Yonkers Arts, and sooner than later, I want this to be a performance art, really, like I say, like the Tiny Dick series, not to be a performance space, because I don't want it to be a performance space. I want it to be a how do you call this? I don't know. If I'm able to have the series, then I can make it available for this type of music or performances, but only like for once a month or something like that, Or if it gets good, maybe even twice a month. But that's a lot of work, because I need to move pianos here and there all the
Oh,
time.
I understand. I understand. With the pandemic and having to go virtual, there's some advantages to that too, with what you have in mind, which is why, Ray's our executive director of Yonkers Arts, has been working with you to help produce some live components to the Carpet Mills Arts Festival replacement this year, which we've been running them live. We also have them archived, and we're going to put everything together as an archive and present them towards the end of the year,
Yep.
as a replacement for the Arts Festival. But that's what you're talking about. Man, if there's a way we can help you, Yonkers Arts is on board with that, is to whatever
Thank you. Yeah,
extent that you would need.
yeah. I'm sure Ray will talk to you, but he's been having some crazy ideas, and I told him, if you need this, and this, we all we have to do is let's make it a plan. Let's see what it takes to make it happen, and it's the same here. I can help you guys, whatever.
So it works out that you actually are not a musician. You're only a restoration technician. So how does that, is that, I mean, are you a musician? You probably know more than I do.
I can play very very basic music, very basic scales. Um, I don't train to play the piano. I don't practice to play the piano. So I don't give myself the credit because you know it's a discipline. You know, I give my discipline to the restoration process. And although I can play the piano and I understand the very basics of piano music, um, I don't give myself the credit for the musician, and I can say this yet. Because now I'm actually taking classes. I've been having classes for the past month, strict piano, a lot of music theory and stuff. So the fact that I've been mm, learning by myself to a point, because I can improvise on the piano and stuff like that, um, it's helping me to understand the classes better, because and the teacher is amazing. My teacher is amazing. She she makes my head click because when you have a person that can, it's like my mentor. My mentor was the same thing. um the it's not about the way you teach specifically, but the way you teach him or her. Like, it's you you gotta be able to understand what is the process for that person, because I tried to have different teachers throughout the years and stuff, and it didn't work out. I didn't feel it. I just didn't feel it. And I've been having 4 classes with this teacher, and every day it's like, wow, so it's something new. I'm truly learning. So not a musician yet.
So I guess there's probably an advantage. There's a couple ways to look at this. You probably have an advantage going as a novice student, being a restoration specialist over a lot of other novices, because you understand, how the keys feel on the fingers and things like that. So you probably have some advantages there, but I wonder if there are disadvantages to be a restoration person and not really being a good pianist. Like, do you find, is that unusual for a restoration and not necessarily be a pianist?
So for the piano restoration, so there's a couple of different jobs: piano restorer, piano technician, and piano tuner. Those are the 3 most. Some people are piano tuners, but are not piano technicians and are not piano restorers. Some people are piano technicians, but are not really good piano tuners, and also not piano restorers. I'm a piano tuner, piano technician, and piano restorer, right? My the way I learned, the way my mentor showed me, it was through concert work, because my mentor was the piano technician for the New York City Ballet for over 40 years. And all the work that he showed me how to do was concert preparation work. And I never knew it was that much. I mean, how much I was learning until I knew what I know now. And I never tuned a piano. With my mentor, I never tuned a piano. With my mentor, I did everything. As a matter of fact, he showed me only a couple of times, because my main goal was to have a piano restoration shop. As a matter of fact, he passed away in 2014, and some of the conversations that we were having is like we wanted to set up a shop, So we were having we were getting some materials, we were getting some tools and stuff like that, because that was that was kind of my goal. So for piano restoration, you need mostly carpentry skills, um, very good handling of tools and machines, understanding of the physics, the geometry, and um, and the numbers, the mathematics that pianos have, which nothing of that is musical, mechanical. Um, but the fact that I learned to do preparation work for concerts, because the only pianos that I was doing was concert grand, concert grand, concert grand. My It trained my feels. I trained my feeling. I trained my ear by doing it, doing it, doing it, doing it, doing it, to the point where everything I do, even if it's a small piano, I treat it like a concert grand, because that's the only thing I know how to do, because that's the way he showed me. So for none of that, I need music skills, right? That's piano restoration. Piano technician, almost the same as piano restoration, but in a smaller how do you call it? The range is small. Piano technicians are more like they repair parts. They can probably change the keys. They can probably work on them on all the keys, the main aspect of the keys, which is the action. They can probably restore the action. But when it comes to refinishing, when it comes to the soundboard inside, they will not be able to do anything like that. Again, a lot of piano technicians are piano tuners. So piano tuners, uh, being a piano technician, a piano tuner is very common. Again, for piano technician, you don't need music skills, because everything is mechanical, everything is wood, everything is felt, everything is really truly mechanical. Now we go into the tuning, piano tuning. Tuning part, depending on how you learn how to tune, you either are musical or not musical, right? Because there is such thing as a formula for tuning a piano. Again, not musical yet, right? So if you learn the formula of the piano tuning, then you can tune a piano without even knowing how to make music, because that formula, that formula ensures that the piano is gonna spread the sound. It's called the pitch throughout the piano. And again, you don't need to have musical skills. Now, where a piano tuner technician needs musical skills. If a piano tuner technician, it's gonna be a concert technician. Most likely, you will need to play the piano there, because now you, like I say, when I was with my mentor, the only thing that I didn't do with him was tuning. When I was with my mentor, he would tune the piano, he would play the piano, he will feel the piano. I learned how to feel the piano, and I learned how to tune the piano and voice the piano, because I can also give voice to the piano. But again, I'm not musical trained. So if I was to get a job where I'm gonna be working on pianos that are for performing arts, like such as Lincoln Center, then most likely I will need to have some kind of a music degree. As a matter of fact, there's some of the schools ask you for a degree on music in order for you to work for them. Now, the word of mouth, it's also as important, because although I'm not a musician, I'm still the piano technician for the School of American Ballet in Lincoln Center, because the skills that I provide are truly, like, if I had in school on this, I'll probably get a master's, and the next thing will be a thesis, something like that. So my range of knowledge of pianos is greater than just a piano tuner, piano technician, or piano restorer. And that's how I come more handy, because there is nothing on pianos that I don't know, except playing piano properly, except reading music properly. So one funny thing is, like, I always call myself as a piano man, you know, and some pianists will get offended for if you call yourself why do you call a piano man if you're not a pianist? And cause I am a piano man. I fix pianos. I restore pianos. I give my love. I when I'm working, it's almost like I'm meditating in some steps because I'm truly try you know I just give my I just give myself to my job, you know, and that's how I am a piano man, you know, and I'm not a pianist.
What other pursuits are you interested in the arts? Am I misremembering that you might be a writer or a performing artist?
Yeah.
Things like that?
Mm, yeah, poetry. I discovered poetry when I was 11 years old, and at that age, my parents were divorcing, and poetry gave me something that my family didn't give me, and it was some type of wisdom, and I learned to read, and I learned that specifically reading poetry um, made me when I felt bad, I would grab a book of poetry and I start feeling good, even when there was sad stuff. Just the way that people would communicate, just the way that people would write it, it makes you feel. It takes you out of your head. It's just, and I started liking poetry when I was 11 years old. Little by little, I got introduced because of music. I got introduced. One of my favorite bands. I got introduced to philosophy. I got introduced to different authors, and I was, you know, I guess back then I was looking for if I knew I already knew that poetry was giving me light in a way, you know. I say, wow, if this phrase of this song comes from this poem, I need to read this poem. If this poem comes from this author, I need to find out what this author is. What else? No, from there I went crazy. Yeah, I went crazy, and the more I was interacting with books, the more I had an urge. I started having an urge. I just needed to put the stuff down.
Do you see it manifesting in music?
Can you repeat that again?
Do you see your writing manifesting in music, or do you think it would stay in the written form?
I see both. I see both. Yeah, I'm not. I'm not ready to go back yet. You know, when I was 28, I truly decided I had two options. I say, you're gonna become a writer, or you're gonna continue with piano technician, and I was gonna do either one. I didn't like I didn't like the cross off because it doesn't match.
I
It doesn't
understand.
match.
And
And
it wants to match, though. Don't
it
you
wants
know?
oh no, it will match. It will match. But at that age, at that, you know, that whatever that, you know, what poetry was for me, it stopped giving me at some point. So I didn't feel it. I didn't feel it. I mean, I performed in New York, I performed in Chicago, I performed in Los Angeles, just because I wanted to perform. You know, I called the poetry, you know, the poetry, you know, shop in Chicago. I say, you know, I would like to come to Chicago. I don't know if you guys, you know, do poetry readings. If you give me, you know, 30 minutes, 20 minutes, they'll be like, yeah, well, that's great. Come over, you know. So I will go and they'll give me an hour, you know, an hour and a half on a Tuesday, you know. And then I went into online internet and I started, you know, at that point it was MySpace and Hi-Fi, and I'll friend the coffee shop, or, you know, and I'll text, you know, I'll send a message to the waitress and they say, I'm having a poetry reading. Can you help me to spread the word? So I'm coming from New York, you know, so people will help me out and say, you know, and all of a sudden I remember my most audience was around, you know, 25, 30 people. And for me it was huge because people don't go to poetry readings.
I know. I think that's incredible. I think
and
that's incredible.
and it, I was able, I always wanted to write, for the performance, because I like the performance. I really enjoy the performance. You know, I really love uh, jumping into character. I call it because I do have a how do you call it? You know, I call myself Opio as a
Yes.
as a writer. So when I'm performing, when I'm writing, I go out of my head. I become Opio, you know, and that was it. You know, I used to perform until like 2006, seven, probably the last time I performed. I still write until now. I write, but I write less. I write much less because I'm too. When you start to understanding word, you don't. There is not much you have to say. You know, there's not much you have to say, and it's hard to try. You know, and it's hard to try to write something and then know this in the back of your head, and then you still try to make no. You know, I like you know, I almost study my not my phrases, or you know, but I'm almost you know, I try to make the I extract as much as possible. Like sometimes I can have a poem that's one page and it becomes like one paragraph. Right? Is that because thought is one thing. The process of thought when you write is good. It feels good. It sounds good. It's fun. But giving the meaning to what you're writing, that's different. You can put feeling into the writing by going for the emotion, but it's not pure. And poetry for me is more pure. You know, it's something that has to be more the essence. So it's like smelling the not looking at the flower, but smelling the flower. You know, so I don't I don't find I don't look for those moments a lot because truly what I love doing right now is my pianos. Truly what I know is gonna give me the space to being able to give more time to music and performing in poetry is pianos. So I gotta give it all this love so I can get all the love back.
That sounds great to me. Sounds like a perfect blend of everything going on in your life. So let me ask you this: if how is somebody going to be able to contact you, or for either your piano restoration or to keep up on what you're doing? Or do you have a website, or you do Instagram, or do you have email, or whatever you can provide?
Yeah. So I am very active on Instagram, and my Instagram account is a piano shop. A piano shop, and that's also the name of my company, a piano shop. And you can find me on Google as well. My all my information is in Google. But my email is apianoshop@gmail.com. And my company's telephone number is 914-378-1999. And that's the same number the company's been having for over 40 years.
Very good. So we're going to wrap this up. We've actually been on at least 45 minutes.
Wow.
Time flies by when we're having fun. It's been incredibly informative. Thanks for joining us, David.
Yeah,
And for everyone looking in, please keep an eye out on our Yonkers Arts Facebook page, our Yonkers Arts Instagram page, yonkersarts.org, for more videos like these, and to be able to see some of the live performances we've been mounting and some of the other programs that we have going on. Thank you for joining us, and thank you again, David.
Thank you, Adam, and thank you to everybody for watching. Stay tuned.